Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be talking about the best passives in Smash Ultimate. Now for me, passives are just something that are just built into your character's kit and they aren't replacing any specific moves. So that means Arsene isn't going to count as a passive for me because it's changing your moves. Go Meter, KO Punch, they're not going to be passives because even though, yes, technically they are passive abilities, they're kind of things that are replacing your character's abilities. Same thing with Rage Drive as well. And also Ink, I don't really know how to define Ink because it just has a lot of weird properties. So we're not going to be touching Ink. Just know Ink is like pretty good. It'd probably be in the middle of the road. I think that's everything. If there's a passive that I left out, just let me know down below and I'll be sure to cover if it should be in the video and if it is supposed to be in the video, where it would go. Also things like Rosalina and Nana, they're not passives because they are like directly affecting your character's kit in a very, very different way. These are just things that are subtly making your character better, but some of them are way more influential than others. Also, really quickly, I forgot to mention Levin Sword. This is kind of a passive as well, but it's replacing some of your moves and getting rid of specials, so I'm not going to count it as one, though it would obviously be the worst one because it's the only passive that's, a hindrance. Now, the worst passive, in my opinion, at number 7 is going to be Hero's Crit. The first one being, it is still just a random chance. It isn't guaranteed every single time that you're going to hit it. I think it's only 1 in 8 that you actually hit the Hero Crit. So when you do need it, a lot of times it just won't be there. But the bigger one for me is just going to be the risk reward of just spamming a smash attack. And a lot of the time, it just won't come into effect because most of the time at higher percents is when you're going to be using smash attacks. I do think a time that crit could be very valuable, though, is going to be when you're in shield, let's say, and you have a really good up smash out of shield. I think Diddy Kong, for example, has an amazing up smash out of shield. If he gets a crit there and kills you at 70, that could be amazing for his character, but a lot of characters don't really have access to an option like that. Most of their smash attacks are going to be pretty slow, pretty committal, and the risk reward just isn't there to be fishing for it at the lower percents. Sometimes your crit will come in and get you an early kill, which is really nice, but all the other passive abilities I feel like are just more of a common occurrence, and they're way easier to rely on, whereas crit is just something that you literally have to get lucky on. At number 6 is going to be Tough Guy / K-Rool Belly Armor. I don't really know how K-Rool Belly Armor would work. I assume if we were to do it, it would just be the same properties as Inkling, where it's like, yeah, these moves that Inkling does, they give you Ink. So if it's like a Fox Laser, that would give you Link for Inkling. For K-Rool, if it's a Fox Nair, that would give him armor, and then sometimes it would break. But I don't really want to go into all the intricacies of that because there would be so much of it. So we're just going to leave K-Rool Armor off the table, but it would be somewhere in this range. But for Tough Guy is pretty strong because it kind of just invalidates certain moves. You cannot Rapid Jab versus someone with Tough Guy, and certain characters need their Rapid Jabs. I think Inkling, for example, Inkling's Rapid Jab is incredibly strong. Bowser Jr., incredibly strong. Fox's, his was really good. A lot of these characters are losing their fastest option on the ground because they just can't Rapid Jab you because you can just get a free punish on them. I know Inkling has a Gentleman, but still Inkling's Rapid Jab is so good. That's kind of crucial to the character. So Tough Guy just makes certain moves not work against you. Certain multi-hits don't work against you as well, at least at the lower percents. And then certain times you can just kind of like armor through moves if they're weak enough, again, at lower percents. And that's maybe the one thing holding Tough Guy down is like once you start getting towards those higher percents, a lot of the things that you're going to be Tough Guy just aren't going to be working anymore because you're going to be taking that knockback. The only thing that's going to be working is Rapid Jabs. You really just can never Rapid Jab someone with Tough Guy, which is always nice to invalidate another opponent's option. I just think the ones above it do a little bit more. At number 5 is going to be Foresight and Bats Within. Now, these abilities are incredibly broken because they can just kind of get you out of disadvantage for free sometimes. Mithra, you have a frame 2 out, which is like massive. It just gets you so far away. And Mithra is able to capitalize on it very, very well because of how quick she is and how good her frame data is. Other characters probably wouldn't be able to capitalize it on as well, like Ganondorf. He wouldn't be able to get anything off Foresight most of the time, but it is still nice to have another option to get out of disadvantage. Gets you pretty far away as well. But the main one for me is Bats Within because Bats Within is frame 1. At least to my knowledge, I could just be totally capping, but if it is frame 1, that is very, very good because you're just giving characters a frame 1 out as well as it getting you pretty far away, and sometimes you will be able to whiff punish. But a frame 1 out on a character like, let's say, Ganondorf. Ganondorf's disadvantage gets way, way better if he has a frame 1 out. Every single character's disadvantage in the game gets way better with the frame 1 out, especially one like Bats Within, because it lets you get to the ground first basically every time. It's also harder to punish than some other frame 1 outs. Like, yes, you can still read the air dodge, but in general, having that frame 1 out can be huge for certain characters. You're just giving them a better air dodge, and having a better air dodge is always something that's nice. So Bats Within and Foresight are very good moves. I don't think most characters would be able to use it as well as Mithra and Bayonetta can, but I still think in a vacuum it'll be pretty good on everyone. At number 4, we are going to have Aura. Now, Aura is really, really strong. It's just an amped up rage, and it stacks on rage as well, which is something that's pretty nice. And the only reason people don't really talk about it is because it's on Lucario, and Lucario is absolute dog water. If you don't have Lucario's Aura, if he's just no Aura Lucario all the time, just normal rage, he is, I think, by far the worst character in the game. He has literally nothing. He cannot kill you. Once he gets Aura, though, it is very, very nice. But the main problem with Lucario is, like, he can be dying someone early, and then he doesn't get to use his Aura. Now, let's say we put Aura on Bowser. You see this problem now, right? Bowser will be killing you at like 50 with like a back air mid-stage, and he's going to be living incredibly long. Now let's put it on a character like Pikachu. Doesn't going to be living as long, but has kill confirms like a drag down there. That could be killing you at like 70 when he's at like 80. These characters can get incredibly strong with aura, and they're still good without aura. I think that's the big difference. Lucario requires aura. Without it, he is absolutely garbage. But with aura, let's say again, Pikachu or Fox, that's a great example. At the lower percents, these characters are still your broken, really good top tiers, but then when they get to the kill percents, they get so much scarier. And honestly, I might be underrating aura a little bit. This mechanic is incredibly strong. It is just amped up rage. If you can be living even a little bit, I think the heavy characters are going to be utilizing this really well as well. I think Donkey Kong, he could be Ding Dong killing you at like probably 30. It would be absolutely ridiculous. All characters would be amazing with Lucario's aura. Even Lucario, when he has aura, is a decent character. He goes up to like mid tier, maybe even high tier. He just struggles so much without it. But the characters that wouldn't be struggling without aura and then still get to reap the benefits of it, oh my lord, it would be ridiculous. At number 3, you have Shoto normal canceling and their auto turnaround. Now, the normal canceling is a bit of a tough one to decipher how it would work, but in my mind, it's just like, okay, if I have a multi-hit, I can cancel the second hit of my multi-hit into a very strong move. I'm thinking like Fox up air. I'm thinking just like rapid jabs in general. Now, just imagine you are playing Zero Suit Samus, and you jab 1 with your frame 1 jab, jab 2 into up B. That is insane. Or let's say you're playing Link, you just jab 1 into your up B. This is ridiculous. There are so many characters that can utilize this extremely well, but characters that don't really have any super strong specials won't be able to utilize this pretty well. I think Palutena, for example. Let's say you get like hit by one hair of up air by Palutena or like a nair clip. What's she gonna? She's gonna up B away from you. Like, she's not really gonna be able to utilize this at all. But what she will be able to utilize is the auto turnaround. The auto turnaround is incredibly strong because it just basically means that you cannot get mixed up. There is no ambiguity when they're landing on your shield because you just drop your shield and then your character will automatically be facing the correct way. Then you can do whatever option you want to do. If you want to grab, if you want to jab, whatever feels nice to you, you can do, which is just incredibly strong. That's why Fox struggles so much versus the Shotos, or at least one of the reasons that he struggles versus Shotos is because he can't cross you up on shield. He can't be ambiguous where he's landing because they'll just turn around right away and up B you. Now, something when I initially made this video that I docked Shotos a lot of points for is going to be the fact that you don't really have access to your back air. But one, I was way stupider back then, and two, Slingshot didn't exist back then. Now I'm so much smarter, and Slingshot is a major thing. If you're not slingshotting by now, or at least like being aware of how to slingshot, you should probably get on that because it is a pretty crucial tech. And if your character does have this auto turnaround, knowing how to slingshot would be huge. And some characters' movements will be hindered by. I think, for example, like these really fast characters that have to slingshot a lot of their back air pressure, like Pikachu might be a character that you might not want this auto turnaround because you don't have any really strong specials to cancel into, as well as you're really gonna want being access to your back air at all times because of how strong back air is. But I think for the most part, you'll be able to slingshot just fine to be able to get your back air pressure, and the auto turnaround makes it really nice. You don't have to deal with those mix-ups. Plus, having special cancels can be incredibly broken on certain characters, like characters with killing uppies, and there's a lot of them in this game. Will be able to utilize this very well. So certain characters might not want this, but I think for the most part, having Shoto abilities will make your character way better. At number 2, you have Sephiroth Wing. Now, Wing is just essentially Aura on crack. Though Aura does go a little bit higher, like it has higher peaks, yes, just the damage multiplier is more. You're going to need to get to around 120%, assuming you're both on first stock, because, Aura scales differently when you're behind and ahead. But also, Sephiroth Wing does the same thing, where you can get it for longer, you can get it earlier, you can get it later. It's all very, very intricate, but in general, Sephiroth Wing is not only better because it has that always 1.3 multiplier when you have it, you also are just faster when you have it, you have another jump, and your smash attacks have super armor, though that's like the thing I care about the least. The jump is amazing. Like certain characters, it just makes the recovery so much better, and the jump is pretty big as well. I'm just going to assume it's like the size of Sephiroth's jump. The jump is very, very nice, but the mobility and the damage that you get is insane. If Sephiroth always had Wing, that character is, like, without a doubt in my mind, top 10, maybe even higher. Sephiroth with permanent Wing is incredibly broken. The main problem for him is that he's so light that he doesn't get to use Wing a lot of the time, but let's put this Wing on Bowser. Okay, that sounds absolutely ridiculous. He has another jump, he's way faster, he has way more kill power. That is just insane, and a lot of characters are going to be able to utilize this very, very well. Just giving third jump to a ton of characters makes them stronger. Mario with a third jump, insane. Can kill you at literally 90% when if he has the Wing, because he hits one up air, and you're probably dead. Pikachu's pressure is insane. Fox juggling is insane. Certain characters won't be able to utilize it as well, because like Aura, you still do have to live to the percents where you're going to be getting the Wing, but I think most characters, I mean a lot of characters, are going to be way heavier than Sephiroth, so there's a way higher chance that they're going to get the Wing. They're going to be getting the same buffs. Sephiroth Wing is just so ridiculously good. Again, if they just made Sephiroth a little bit heavier, oh my lord, the character would be so much better because of how broken Wing is. Though it's not quite the most broken in the game, I think it is pretty close. It's such an amazing mechanic. It just makes your character objectively better, and that extra double jump is always nice. And my number one passive ability in the game, and it's pretty clear for me, though One Wing is still broken, the number one in the game for me is going to be Float. Now, Float just makes your character infinitely better. Every single character in the game with Float gets way better. The only one that maybe doesn't heavily benefit from it is going to be Little Mac, but even still, Little Mac's recovery just gets like from garbage to pretty good. Now, most characters are just going to have insane combos with Float. Float just gives you so much combo potential because you have Float cancel. You're also just going to be hitting harder because Float doesn't have the short hop multiplier. When you short hop in this game, your moves do less damage, but when you have Float, you can not only control that same space, but you still get that full hop multiplier and doing the more damage, which is insane. That's why Peach does so much damage in her combos. Now, I hear what you're saying. What if my character is low mobility? They're not really fast in the air. They have a lot of struggles on the ground as well. Can't really get there. Well, don't worry, because that is literally Peach. If you take Float away from Peach, that character is like low tier, maybe high mid tier at best. That character is absolute garbage. If you give any single character in the game Float, they rise by so many slots in Unreal. Let's say you give a good character Float to. If you get Fox Float, oh my lord, that character could have some insane combos. And the really nice thing about Float is I don't even have to prove this to you. There is a setting in the game. You can go into Special Smash. You can put on that little Tanuki leaf and you can try it for yourself. And you can see how much better your character gets with Float. How well they're able to utilize it. Their movement in the air is just so much better. The amount of spacing game you're able to play with Float is insane. Like, you look at Mute's, for example. The reason that Mute's spacing is so good is because, one, he's absolutely insane. But two, it's because Float allows you to perfectly play outside that burst range and get you the pixel perfect whip punishes. No other character in the game can play as precise as Peach, and Float is the sole reason that. This mechanic is absolutely ridiculous. Every single character in the game would benefit from it heavily. They'd all unlock super broken combos. Their disadvantage would get better. Their advantage state would get better because they'd be out there for longer. Just everything about them would get a little bit of a buff. And I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you're one of the few people that have already seen this video, sorry, new upload will come tomorrow. I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know down below. Sport's been absolutely unreal lately. If there's any passives that I forgot, I don't think I did, but maybe there's like a weird one that I just left out, or there's just one I straight forgot, which is definitely not impossible. Again, let me know down below. Sport's been absolutely unreal, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.